Welcome. Welcome to Mending Threads. This is your safe place and your stronghold for whole body wellness. This is a transformation series, mind, body, and spirit. Today we have selected a topic to reflect what we see in the news, what we're experiencing on our streets, in our homes. And many of these questions are coming to our churches, to our therapy sessions, and between family and friends. The topic is anger and forgiveness. And we will be doing a series on this, looking at it both from personal, psychological, and spiritual perspectives. We're going to bring on our own co host, Dr. Wilson, Dr. Corey Wilson. I want to say that he's a pastor here in Houston. He'll tell you a brief thing about where he is. And he's a pastor. He belongs to a lot of different organizations. He has a history in psychotherapy. He's degreed in psychotherapy as a psychologist. And we're going to get a lot of information and understanding from him that we can take to the next step, to our next step, to our church, and to those persons in our families as well. So, Dr. Wilson, thank you for being here this morning, all ready and raring to go.
Yes, ma'am. It's always an honor and a privilege. Good morning to everyone. Yeah, I'm
Yes.
Corey Wilson of Christian Faith Missionary Baptist Church. I just made 10 years in Houston, Texas as of last month. So I
Oh,
am a native now,
okay,
and
that's right.
I'm proud to be here. So yes, I've done a lot of extensive work in the field of psychology, and really just being in the community, helping along with being a part of the church, trying to connect all the dots between the church, the community, education, even probation, social services, all
Yes,
service provisions I've been a
yes,
part of to some degree. But now,
yes,
yes, I'm also a chaplain through HPD, Houston Police Department, and their union. Also a chaplain at Buffalo Soldiers, 9th and 10th Cavalry scenario that's here in the great city of Houston, Texas, and a
mhm,
host of other things. And I'm also a part of WRC, which brings
yes,
me here with the great
yes.
Dr. Willie Mae Lewis. Okay.
Well, listen, I'm so glad you think of it that way because I know that when we're together, we solve a lot of problems. And I just heard from a young man who asked us, who suggested that we could probably go on TikTok together. He
Wow.
looked at it. He's some kind of expert on TikTok, one of some of the top people on TikTok. And I happened to come across him and he was saying, well, wow, you all need to be on TikTok. People need to know what you're saying. And most of the people on TikTok, Dr. Lewis, they're not where you are.
Okay.
I
That
said,
was
well,
that was really good because when you're focused on doing the work, you don't
yes,
think about how you broaden the work.
yes,
And that's what a lot of people don't understand. You
yes.
can't focus on doing the work and put everything you have and then start thinking about marketing.
Right.
That's
I
how a
told
lot of
him you need to be doing that part for us. You need to come
exactly
on and do that. And that would be your gift. You
correct.
see.
Yep.
Hmm. Well, I wanted us to really get into this because anger
Hmm.
is something that we're seeing prevalent more than ever. And that's the question. Are we seeing it because it's happening more, or are we seeing it because it's being reported more?
Hmm.
And I want to see what your thoughts. Anger is supposed to be, and I'm going to ask you to define your perspective of anger first.
Hmm.
What is this anger and forgiveness thing? What
Yes.
is anger and what is forgiveness?
Well, let me start with anger, and I'm glad you asked that question because I'm prepared to go into. I'm gonna use Webster, okay, and then I'll go into a synopsis of how it connects. But hear this, just to give a clear, concise um, point and definition about anger. This is what it states: anger, okay, it is a feeling of displeasure and hostility that a person has because of being injured, mistreated, opposed, etc. Now, here are the words for anger: wrath, rage, fury, passion, temper, bad temper, animosity, indignation, hatred, resentment, hot temper, impatience, vexation, annoyance, provocation, violence, turbulence, frenzy, tantrum, exaggeration, irritation, and danger. Now, if that don't touch you, if you've ever been angry, something's
Yes.
wrong.
Yes.
I guarantee you, being angry, let's talk about what does that look like in us.
But one thing I want to do is to let people know that they don't have to be sick to be angry.
That's right.
That anger is natural, that is a natural process.
It's a natural process because as things happen to us, anger is a feeling. Okay? It's a
Mm-hmm.
feeling. It's not a thought.
Mm-hmm.
It's a feeling. Something will happen. Let's just say today, Dr. Lewis, something you say may hurt my feelings. All right?
Mm-hmm.
You got the
Mm-hmm.
act of when you said it. And then
Mm-hmm.
based on how I think, see, this is the trigger to anger. Anger don't happen automatically when something happens that we don't like or disapprove of. Anger happens after we sift it through how we see it,
Right.
we think about it. And once we sift what just took place from the dislike and we start playing it in our mind, in
Mm-hmm.
our cortex, okay, that intellectual side, and we start naming it, then feelings and emotions come from
Mm-hmm.
what we just thought. And those are normally everything I just talked about with anger. The problem with anger, when we don't be careful not to stay too long, things are going to happen. If someone drive and cut you off on the freeway, when you get angry, what happens normally is you're going behind them and you feel the need to tell them or to want to do something. That's when anger has went too far, too long,
Right. Yes.
and it becomes dangerous, okay, to
Mm-hmm.
you and to others. But most people don't even know, believe it or not, Dr. Lewis, when they're angry and when their aspect of anger has reached to boiling point to where they don't even think cognitively no more at
Right.
all, but they don't know that. They're responding now strictly off of emotion.
Right. And what one of the things that I want to ask you in your research and your studies is this word should and ought, how tightly it is to this thing that you mentioned. You
Mm-hmm,
mentioned that there's something happens and they feel something where it's, they have a people tell me, oh, Dr. Lewis, I feel some way about it. You know,
mm-hmm,
and they're
mm-hmm,
trying to say that they feel frustrated in some sense of anger.
mm-hmm,
And you mentioned that they go back and sieve through some things
mm-hmm.
and they're bringing it forward, you see,
Yeah.
to this situation,
Mm-hmm.
and they have already some kind of way attached it to something that they have evaluated. You read off about that it shouldn't have happened, or they are,
Mm-hmm.
it's not just for them, or
Correct.
it's not something.
Correct. No, you're right. Once they start dealing with shoulds, you're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because a should is not always a reality.
Yes.
It's your reality of
Your
how you
reality. That's
wish
right. Mm-hmm.
things were, how
Mm-hmm.
you want things to be. You can wish all you want, you can want all you want. But the
Right.
reality will always supersede your wishes and your projections. But we don't see the problem is, Dr. Lewis, we're accustomed to just doing things and putting things out. We don't
Right.
do well at assessing what we put out.
Let me give
Especially,
you let me
come on.
give you what you right there where you are. You just brought up a real situation.
Mm-hmm,
So, and I'm writing it in my little book that I'm getting ready to try to put together, a little manual. And it says, so this situation is so real. I have a young lady who stays with me, and she decided, now here are all of, and I want you to add this in here.
mm-hmm,
Here are the parameters of how people really think. So I She went in and she decided at 9 o'clock, because we had stayed up so working on something late. She went in at 9 o'clock to cook. So me 9 p.m. So but anyway, she said she wanted soup. So I came up with an idea that she could have some really gumbo and soup. And so she was in the mic in the air fryer while I was doing something else. She had made this seasoned something of shrimp. Well, I looked in the air fryer and I thought, oh, let me help her out. She's trying to make this soup. So I take the stuff out of the air fryer and I put it into the soup. Okay, so it could be spicy. It looked like she
Mhm.
was trying to make it spicy. That's it. Let me give her a hand, quickly move it on, late as it is. So I stirred it up. I made it real good, stirred it up and everything.
Mhm.
And she came in later. And I'm laughing about it because I think about how real this is with perspective taking.
Mhm.
So she came in, she says, Dr. Lewis, what happened to the stuff in the air fryer? What happened to my stuff in the air
Mhm.
fryer?
Right.
I said, oh, I helped you out. I put it inside of the. She said, but that was for me. I
Mhm.
said, oh, I had no idea.
Mhm.
I thought we were just putting something together for me.
Mhm.
You see?
Mhm.
So now,
Mhm.
see, that's how anger could surface. But I'm writing that down as a key
Mhm.
situation for many things about should,
Mhm.
oughts, and how people see the world.
Mhm.
Yes.
Because one thing is, and that's why we that are human, with all these rash of emotions and thoughts of intellect, we have to do a much better job at compartmentalizing all this aspect
Yes.
about being human. But the problem, Dr. Lewis, is we don't. We haven't been taught that there's a need. Neither do we see the value in slowing down and then looking at, you know, how you go to the doctor and you have an issue, you have a problem, something's going on. So the
Yes.
first thing they do, you go see him, and that first doctor see you, and if he can't, detect what's going on from the discussion or touching your body, you might do a range of touching. If
Yes.
that's not enough to detect what's wrong, what do? They do further analysis. What does that
Yes.
look like? An MRI and an X-ray. So follow me for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Before they go to telling you what you need to take, or what they need to fix, they don't guesstimate. They stop and
Mm-hmm.
do a deeper analysis to find out exactly what's the problem before they start operating on anything. That's why you
Right.
get the x-rays back. And the doctor put the x-rays on the screen and they say, oh, I see. We have a problem here. There's a fracture, but it's visible. Look at it. We both can identify with it. So now we know what to do. Being a human, in our psyche, we got emotions, we got thoughts, we got feelings, we got all these rash of things that can be wild. But nobody's ever thinking, we got to start thinking like doctors when we go see them. Can we stop and do more analyzation of what the situation is?
Yes.
But when
Yes.
something bothers us, listen to this, Dr. Lewis, because I've done my own research. When something bothers a human, they think that's a green light to just run with what's bothering them.
Yes.
They never assess the cause, how it's bothering them. What if what's bothering me is coming from something old that didn't even happen to me? What if my issue is under a should? But we don't have
Yes.
time to do that.
Yes.
Neither do we take the time. Now let me jump off this and go to forgiveness. And I want you to hear
Yes.
me, because
Yes. Yes.
this is something that God taught me personally. Okay. He came to me. Not that he's not teaching this to anyone else, but I had an encounter. When I
Yes.
was in college, I had a friend. We had some fun. And then all of a sudden I wound up in the dean's office. Okay. Just follow. Now, my friend, I didn't know, so eloquently had went and told the dean everything we had did. And now he didn't even have to do that, but of course they scared him and they made him think that he was going to lose his scholarship. So here I come. And the dean is not asking me, he's telling me. And the more the dean was telling me, Dr. Lewis, about what we had done, I wasn't mad at what I did. I was mad at my friend. Oh my goodness. When I tell you,
Wait till I get my
woo,
head.
whoa, wait till I get back. We gonna have it out. I can't believe this. I can So the more he talked, the more he talked. So anyway, at that time too, God had kind of I had began my process of being called. I didn't know I was called yet, but I started to study the Bible again, along with my other studies that went with my schooling. So here it is.
Mhm.
So that night I couldn't get to him. And boy, I'm just in my dorm bawling, and I'm sitting there, and the voice came to me, and it asked me a question. Just hear me out. He said, "Are you mad?" I'm like, "Uh-huh." "You
Mhm.
angry?" I said, "Yes, I am." He said, "Who are you angry at?" I said, "I'm angry at so and so. He did this and he did this and he did that." And I'm going off, Dr. Lewis. I'm just having this conversation in my head. So follow me.
Yes.
Then he asked me, he said, "Now, did he tell the truth?" And it stopped me in my thoughts, in my tracks of thought. I'm like, "Well, yeah." But wait, I got smart. Then I said, "Well, he picked a bad time." Well, follow me. I'm just telling you. He said, "Now, how do you get so angry with the truth?" And I'm sitting, I'm like, "Wait a minute." He said, "Now, if he told the truth, he can't be mad." He said,
Mhm.
now, then he jumped out of that and reverted me to the word. He said,
Mhm.
"You know why they killed me and hung me on a tree, which was a cross?" He said,
Mhm.
"Because I spoke the truth."
Truth.
He
Mhm.
said, "Now you're studying and learning about me."
Mhm.
He said, "But you cannot really exemplify what I'm asking of you if you're going to be angry when somebody tells the truth." Now, if he lied, this will be a different discussion. So follow me here.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
then, as I said, "You know, you're right." He said, "Now, I understand you had a bond, you had a friendship, but he told the truth." So he taught me two things that night, and I want you to hear this. He said, first of all, stop doing things where people can tell the truth and get you in trouble. Number two, number
Mhm.
two, you must forgive him. Why? Because if I will forgive you while you asking for forgiveness from me about this particular sin, you must be able to forgive them. Now, the third thing I got then in time is that when I hear people say, "I can forgive, but I can't forget," I got it. Now, let's analyze that.
Mhm.
When you forgive according to the word of God,
Mhm.
you then say to God through you and him, because God has to help you with that pain, because can't no other person help you with the pain associated with the act. So what happens when people say, "I'll forgive, but I can't forget," every time they think about the act, they relive the pain that went with the act every time they think about it. So that's what stops them from forgiving the right way. So true
Mhm.
forgiveness is not just in thought and in theory, but it's forgiving them for the pain, not the act, but the pain that you got from the act. So moving forward, the pain, when you think of it, won't hurt you the way it did when you started to forgive them, which was not just the act, but the pain associated with
Because
the
you're
act.
removing the severity, the intensity
Yes,
of the pain or the associated anger.
yes, ma'am, precisely.
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh.
I got that from that. And I've learned the healthiest way when we're serving God, we have to have a portion of us in our prayers about forgiveness for all things and all people, because anger, we haven't touched what it does to you. Anger is not good for the person. So God don't want us to be living in anger too long, because it
Mhm.
distorts. Okay,
Yes.
it
Yes.
creates a disease in you. It creates other things where you don't think properly. You just want to respond off of your feelings, and then you think you right. And then when things are not done a certain way, and you feel that it was
Mhm.
against the law, etc., you start working on shoulds. And I'm sorry,
Yeah.
like racism. Well, they shouldn't stop me because I'm black. They shouldn't do this because I'm this. Hey, y'all, I got it. But did you hear
Yes.
the key word? They
Right.
shouldn't. They
Shouldn't.
are. Listen to me. They are. So what does that mean? Do you feel weak when you got to learn how to use wisdom to know if they going to stop you? Let me
Right.
prepare the way I operate to
Yes.
possibly prevent them.
Yes.
Well, no, I don't want to do that because it's not supposed to be. Wait a minute now. Wait a minute. So you telling me if a dog is on the street that you have to normally go down and walk home and you know it's there because he should be leashed in his owner's yard, you're going to walk anyway and get mauled? And
Yes.
you knew that? What
Yes.
would make you walk down the street with a loose dog because you
Right.
think he should have been leashed? But he
Right.
wasn't. You are? So
And,
anyway, I
and,
don't
and
want.
you didn't prepare. You don't have any boots. You don't have any
Okay,
reflectors, no
what?
mirrors, no gloves, no nothing.
Right. You don't prepare.
Right.
That's what should causes us not to do. You
Right.
start operating in a world that don't exist yet. So how about I get it? I don't like having to prepare when other races of people normally don't. I get it. But
Right.
if this is the reality right now, why would I put myself in harm's way based on a should? But follow me, Dr. Lewis. We don't connect those dots
Right.
at
Right.
all.
But it's something. And even in the face of a lot of stress, um, the research is showing, and you look around people, there are two things that is happening that it actually affects us, our bodies,
Mm-hmm.
and the illnesses that we already have. It makes it worse.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I did not know how important cortisol
Mm-hmm.
was as it relates to stress and anger.
Right.
So when you say, for instance, like the description that you gave, and a person is really upset and they're angry and whatever, the more it happens from the old thing that you said, they sieve and they bring it back to it, the
Mm-hmm.
cortisol is increasing.
Mm-hmm.
So as the cortisol in the body, now this is just some things that Dr. Atkins was sharing,
Mm-hmm.
and he shared that then the little things that connect the neurons and everything,
Mm-hmm.
the transmitters change, and so the neurons get weaker and weaker. And
Right.
when then the neurons, it's just really weird. So when you see people who have memory problems or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
he's showing that if we continue to allow historic trauma and other trauma to lay on our brains, not existing, not that it's not there, but
Correct.
allowing it, like you said, without um, letting go of the action of the anger. And you expressed it better than I just did.
No, but you
And
own it, Dr. Lewis.
but letting go of that, then the way that we think, our frontal lobe began to shrink because now we can't make good judgment.
Right.
Whatever we're going to do is a reaction, and it's not a judgment. We're not thinking it through, and we make mistakes, and we don't respond to questions the same. And then the other thing is that our memory, the hippocampus of the brain, we started
Mm-hmm.
looking at that. That begins to shrink. Now we forget things in the
Mm-hmm.
moment, even when the person is
Mm-hmm.
is is highly intensely angry.
Mm-hmm.
And so our behaviors become different,
Correct.
and and we just begin to do things, and we're angry with people who even look. So
Mm-hmm.
I told you about the lady that my teacher,
Mm-hmm.
and when he was sharing that, and you were talking just then, she would never call on me because I had more melanin in my skin. I was a little
Mm-hmm.
darker.
Mm-hmm.
She would call
Mm-hmm.
on all of the ones that had less melanin in their skin in the
Mm-hmm.
front. And you'd just be raising your hand, you knew the answer, she wouldn't. So I was sitting like on the second
Mm-hmm.
rows, and you'd look up at her, and I would look up at her, and she had this particular nose that would cut back up. And so many years later in my doctorate program,
Mm-hmm.
we were doing supervision,
Mm-hmm.
and I was working with a person, And the man who was helping us, the instructor, was like, I just don't know why you can't get past this with this person. It must be something. What is it you don't like about the person? Look at the person. Listen to the person. Come to find out, the person had the same nose as the person that was a teacher in the class. So talking about Sivan. So all of a sudden, I had this deep down something that I didn't know. This is letting you know how it can rest there unconsciously sometime.
Correct.
And you not even know. So I want to bring that layer to what we're discussing as well.
Yeah, and that's why, in psychology we call that countertransference.
Yes.
Something that's happened to you from somebody else in some other situation, and in a new situation, the person is similar or relative, or the situation is similar, and you start transferring everything that happened from a previous dynamic into this one, but it becomes real again to you. Okay? And you don't even assess the current situation to realize that it's not the same because your emotions kick in. And
Yes.
then your chemicals in your brain, your neurons and they don't fire properly. So now you again working off of emotion, and it goes by something that has happened that may not be the same, but it's similar. And we don't take the time to slow us. See, we got to learn as humans, the brain, every aspect, we got to learn to slow it down sometimes. God gave us something very powerful up here. I mean, it's powerful. But when it's not controlled, that power, it's like driving a powerful car out of control. Okay? There's nothing wrong with the car. It's when it's out of control. That car can have you in a ditch. All right? That car can have you in a tree. That car can have you over a cliff if you drive it without any control. And that's what happens when we get angry. Let me tell you a spiritual dynamic about anger. If God is in the front seat driving your car while everything is calm, collective, things are going well, when things happen and you go into an angry mindset, you then allow the devil to come and snatch God out of the car. And then the devil takes the driver's seat. And because you are extremely emotional at the time, follow me, you are cheering the devil, right? Yeah, why?
Yes.
You're
Yes. Yes.
upset about something and you want something done. So no matter who's in the driver's seat, when the devil get there, he don't identify himself as the devil. Neither do you see him as the devil. But this is what happens when we get angry. We lose discernment because we're no longer using aspects of the brain that will help you point out when the devil is there and when he's not. So you cheer the devil, yeah. And he said, yeah, you want to get him? Yeah, let's go get. And there you and the devil go. And that's why people do things, Dr. Lewis, in a split second that can cost them their life, cost
Yes.
somebody else's life. And then after they have time to think, and he's like, what happened to me? I didn't mean to do all that. Well, you let somebody else in the driver's seat. And I promise you, the devil is real, number one, because I know there's this whole thing. Well, I've never seen this. So people, I got it. You choose to believe what you would like. I know for me, the spiritual realm and world, but what God has shown me has helped me to get some clarity and give me some health. That's what I know. So if you choose not to believe that it does not exist, I'm completely fine. And I'm not here to convince you. But for those that think or might believe it's real, I'm here to confirm. I know it's real.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
when you let the devil in your front driver's seat, we don't know where you might be heading.
Now, how you know? How do you know? How for the audience? How do you know exactly when you are letting the devil in your front seat and what the devil represents?
Great question. The first thing you might get a clue is whatever just happened. Follow me. The devil don't want to bring resolve. That's a big flag. Meaning
Mm-hmm.
the thoughts in your head. Let's do it that way. Because people are like, what are you talking about? Well, you're going to get some thinking going on. When something happens, the next time anything happens in your day, you have a bad phone call, somebody cut you off, somebody tell you something, I promise you, slow down and look at what's going on in you. You're going to start having a range of thoughts. And in those thoughts, devil are going to tell you from this dynamic, everything negative. That's a red
Mm-hmm.
flag
Mm-hmm.
no matter what has happened. And then when the Lord try to kind of squeeze a different thought, they say, well, you know what? They may have not known what they was doing. No, but they did it. See that? That's the devil ruling out anything that's going to bring
Mm-hmm.
you some peace and some calm.
Mm-hmm.
The devil wants you to stay riled up, angry, and he wants you to make sure that you play a role in something happening to what or who has done something to you. I'm letting you know now, when those thoughts come to you, that's a big red flag that's saying that's the devil talking to you. Instead of helping you calm from the situation, he wants you more amplified. He want to rile you up. I mean it. And you got to watch it because when you're upset, you're going to welcome those thoughts. I hate to
Mm-hmm.
say it. And
You
you're
mean
going to,
you're going to want to keep holding on to it?
that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Because it's going to make you feel like you're doing your part. It's
correct.
going to make you feel good and okay.
That's right. Because you think there's resolve coming. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When there's really not. I've learned that when you don't learn to start listening to a better voice, when you get upset or hurt, resolve never comes. Actually, you get into a worse predicament,
Mm-hmm.
but the results of that don't come that moment. See, that's the whole catch.
Mm-hmm.
It comes in time.
Mm-hmm.
Case in point, I know people get mad, Dr. Lewis. Let's say
Mm-hmm.
spouses. They get into an argument in their house. They break a vase, they break a glass, kick the TV. And then 3 days later, everybody calm down. Then they go, oh, baby, cut on the TV. They're like, oh, Lord, we smashed the TV when we was mad.
We can't.
We can't watch TV. What was we thinking? You weren't.
I know, and sometimes I guess the logic of it. So even in movies, even in the movies, I'm just like, why are they breaking up all the pretty crystal and everything? Why are they throwing? I just don't quite get it. They need to just go outside and throw rocks
Yes,
or something.
exactly.
What make a decision to just be upset and go and be upset?
Exactly. See, that's the thing. And thank you for bringing that. Let's go into that. Make a decision that you're upset and be okay with that. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get upset. Label it. Sit down and identify this made me mad and I'm feeling these feelings. However, I can't stay here because I have to go to work. Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I have to drive, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have to pick up my children, right? It's things, life must continue to go on. Now, follow me. You see these glasses? If you continue to drive around with those glasses of anger, from then on for the rest of your day, everything you see is going to be seen through the glasses of
Yes.
anger. So
Yes.
they're really blinding. Anger blinds. And now that's
Mm-hmm.
all you're consumed with. But nobody on earth knows what you're going through.
And if you hold on to it, Pastor,
Hmm.
Dr. Wilson, if you hold on to the anger for a length of time and keeping those glasses on, so that you're saying that people have no idea how anger is so connected to depression.
Exactly.
You see, and they want to know, why am I feeling sad? My energy,
Hmm.
I'm tired, what
Hmm.
that is. And if you get to talking with them, you'll find out that they're people that they're angry with, and they're just holding on to it.
That's right.
You read off those definitions, and it was
Hmm.
saying obstinate. It was just saying a lot of resistant behaviors
Hmm.
and anger in their words that describe that.
Hmm.
You see. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And these are the things that we have to be careful for. So follow me. Forgiveness, believe it or not, is the best medicine. That's what we're going to label it as today.
Mm-hmm.
For anger and hurt, disappointment, even racism,
Yes. Yes.
or gender problems, or whatever.
Yes.
If the world and people and the system have caused you to think and feel inferior in any way, the best
Mm-hmm.
medicine is forgiveness. I
Mm-hmm.
promise you, it's the best. Now, I used to think it was theory until I used it.
Yes.
So, case in point, if you would see me and I had to deal with the outright racist, a Aryan brother of the Brotherhood, and he came across my driveway telling me on my property what he gonna do and what I can't on my property. Now follow me now. If I don't watch it, me and him will be on the evening news, and it won't be good for me. Okay,
Yes. You
follow
will
me.
have joined them. Mm-hmm.
Yes, but what I've done through all of what I've been through and my people, in regards to how we've been treated since we were in this country, I've taken medicine called forgiveness. So when I deal with that Aryan brother on my driveway, I'm not coming at him with the glasses of what me and my people have been through for 400 plus years or however long it's been. I've removed that, and now I can deal with him clear headed, and I can keep the incident that's in front of me
Separate.
and
Yes.
exact and not associated at all. So there's no pressure. I'm not trying to get justice on him for 400 and some odd years. I just want to deal with him in the situation right then and right there. And if I'm not healthy minded, I'm not going to be able to deal with him like that. Because as racist as he might be, he just might be having his own problems in his own life, which caused him to be on my driveway. It just
Mm-hmm.
happened to be mine. But I won't be able to see all that. So I'm going to be able to calm down, have a discussion with the brother, whether he's racist or not. What's
Mm-hmm.
going on? I'm going to let him get it out. And then I'm going to tell him what's good, what's bad, what's right, and what's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Calmly.
Mm-hmm.
But we're
Mm-hmm.
not able to do things calmly, Dr. Lewis, because we got all this nostalgia that has been
Yes.
built up.
Yes.
Okay? And
Yes.
the other problem is we don't know we have a build up because it's wrong. And when a person is wronged, follow me, they think it's right to have build ups. Well, wait a minute. I
Mm-hmm.
hear you. I hear you. But you don't know what this is. Have you not seen what you are carrying?
Mm-hmm.
Let me say this quickly. When people do things to you, I want you to know when they do it, they move on. If you come back to them next week, they're not even thinking about what they did to you last week. But guess what? That's all you've been thinking about for
Yes.
a week. Now, when
Right.
you see them again, you're like, I'm going to do this. And then when they look at you, they're like, what's wrong? They don't even remember. So follow
Right.
me.
Mm-hmm.
If the people that's doing us wrong don't even remember when they do it, they're moving on. And believe it or not, that's
Mm-hmm.
healthy in a different way. We're
Yeah.
stuck. Listen to me. We're stuck. And that's all
Yes.
that has consumed us. And I promise you, you haven't been getting good thoughts from that one thing that happened to
Mm-hmm.
you last week. Now,
Mm-hmm.
that puts you a week behind in other things in life.
Mm-hmm.
A week. Now, what if we've been dealing and letting that consume us for a year?
Week after week after
Dr.
week, year
Lewis,
after year.
a
Mm-hmm.
decade, a
Yes.
century. Listen to what I'm saying. See, the
Mm-hmm.
devil want us to point at what people are doing to us. God want us to start pointing at what we are doing to us. And I don't mean the violence on one crime on black crime. I'm talking about what we are allowing that has happened, how we are allowing it to consume.
Us. That's right. Mm-hmm.
We need to,
Your life, your energy.
yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
Because we are allowing it, and what we don't realize, for 100, 200, 300 years, 100 days, 100 hours, you've been drinking some bad medicine when you could have been drinking some real medicine to
Mm-hmm.
help
I
you.
was telling a lady this morning that her medicine may be and this is what you just being in the moment and responding to the situation.
Mm-hmm.
She says, I just don't know why I can't be happy.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I sad? Why am
Mm-hmm.
I? And then she goes into something else about what she did and what somebody, and then she goes back to the, and really it is just stop in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds so simple, but really
Mm-hmm.
changing the chemistry of your body and your heart
Mm-hmm.
by doing just what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
Be in the moment and ask, what was given to me today?
Mm-hmm.
What can I use today? How can I help myself and someone else today? Where is my happiness? Can I accept the happiness today?
Mm-hmm.
What can I do now?
That's right.
Those are the questions of joy,
Mm-hmm.
happiness,
Mm-hmm.
productivity, and things like that, and
Mm-hmm.
not of you move away from depression
Yes.
and anger. You see,
Because
so I think what you just said was so key
yes.
about the moment,
Yes.
reflecting on the reality of the moment.
Because if you don't watch it, you'll be stuck in that moment longer than what we need to in regards to you being healthy and staying healthy. And that moment will be the cause of you becoming unhealthy. Okay. And I'm here today to tell you that's not good for anything to cause a human to become unhealthy. Help me out.
Mm-hmm.
You get a cold. Do you plan on doing things to make the cold worse? Or do you start doing things to remove it? When you get cancer, help me out. Do you then start doing things to make the cancer worse? Or do you begin the process of removing the cancer? Now,
That's a good question.
what I'm pointing out that we're not cognizant of,
Mm-hmm.
when we have these things and cancers that hit us, we don't realize we don't start doing what it takes to remove it. We start doing things to enhance. Okay? And it feels good at the moment because you're working off emotion. All
Mm-hmm.
right? But the reality of what you've been spending time in is going to start showing up in
Mm-hmm.
aspects of your life. No patience,
Mm-hmm.
might
Mm-hmm.
be your overall health.
Mm-hmm.
You telling other things, I don't have time for this. I mean, just all it starts
Mm-hmm.
messing with us and
Mm-hmm.
infecting us. And then so much of that happens, we don't even know where it went wrong. So I'm letting you know, we have to start whenever something happens. A, identify it. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Stop and identify. They
Yeah.
made you mad. You can say that.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
healthy. Be
Mm-hmm. And
honest with
describe
yourself.
it and describe what's
That's
happening
right.
to you, what you're
That's right.
thinking about right now. What is
That's
it you
right.
want? Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly identified. And once you identified, believe it or not, you validated yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes
Yes.
we look for validation from hurt and pain from
Yes.
others. You might not get it.
Mm-hmm.
Validated yourself. Sit
Mm-hmm.
down and say, I was hurt. Now, let me tell you this other thing that we do in our church. And
Mm-hmm.
we've done this a long time, centuries, that I don't particularly care for. But real quick, when somebody gets, just saying, cancer, maybe, and they get on the mic at church and say, "Oh, I have cancer, but I ain't claiming it." I go, "What?" Well, we're not supposed to be claiming this stuff. Time out now. Hold on. See, right there, Dr. Lewis. I'm just being honest with you. Bad teaching. Okay? Hear me
Mm-hmm.
out. You are to say what's real. Okay?
My cells are changing,
They're changing.
drinking right and eating each
Okay?
other right, and I right.
Okay? I
Mhm.
got bacteria in my body and
Yes,
it might spread. Say it. It's okay.
right.
Now follow me. People think saying it means it's going to automatically multiply. No. If you
Is what
never
comes
say it
after that. What you gonna say after that?
after, if you never own it and say it, you're not going to start the process to remove it because you just
Right.
lied to yourself. They say I got it, but I ain't going to claim it. So you know what you just said? I'm not willing to do all the things associated with removing it. But
Yes.
when you say, I got it, and then God shows you through your doctors what to do to remove it, you're not going to make haste. So I got to dispel that way of thinking from the church, because
Mm-hmm.
that's not the way God wants us to think. Claim it. That
Right.
doesn't mean God can't remove it.
Yes.
But you need to be clear on the things you need to be doing that's associated with you getting healed from this disease. So you got
Right.
to claim it. The last thing I'm
Mhm.
going to say, if God gets you through it and you didn't claim it, how you going to give him the honor and the praise and the glory
Right.
about
That's right.
being a healer? What
Right.
you heard a testimony, right?
Yes.
Well, if you don't claim the test, how you going to have a testimony?
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's just a whole lot. I don't want to. I'm getting excited.
Well, no, you're getting right on into the process of trying to move toward forgiveness at the same time too, because people become angry with God and angry with
That's right.
situations and other
Mm-hmm.
people, and just angry because I'm in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
but the thing about it is to begin to look at it as to what do I need to do now? How did it happen?
Mm-hmm.
What is it asking me to do?
Mm-hmm.
Where is it leading me?
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of other
Yeah.
things about now,
Uh-huh.
you
That's
see.
right. Yes, ma'am.
So people that don't say it out loud, you know, it's like being the alcoholic. They'll keep drinking
Yes, ma'am.
and thinking that if they just drink on the weekend,
Mm-hmm.
they're not alcoholics. Or
Mm-hmm.
they think that I'm 40 pounds overweight,
There you
but I'm
go.
gonna still eat fried chicken,
Exactly.
and I'm
There you
not
go.
I'm not obese.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm only eating it on the weekend. You know,
Exactly.
so it's like denial is
Yes.
a big part of the anger process.
Right. Let me say this. The brain God gave us can do and think anything. But follow
That's
me.
right.
It's like a computer. It will not do something that you didn't program it to do. What am I saying in there? If your programming to your brain from a situation is about somebody else and what they've done, if that's
Mhm.
the only programming that you've been cycling through, that's all your brain will ever give to you. Feedback based on what you're feeding it. So, in order for the brain to do all the wonderful things that God intended, we got to start feeding it something different so it can do things different than it has done for us in the past. Your brain ain't going to just start doing things for you that you don't feed it.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
got to feed. It's like the body. If you don't eat broccoli, or I'm gonna say carrots, it's hard for you to get the I think it's beta carotene in
Yes.
regards for your eyes and different things.
Right.
You need beta carotene. You got to start eating some carrots. I'm just
Right.
saying, or taking a supplement. It's
Yes.
not going to automatically happen.
Do it.
And that's what bothers me as I've learned about church and God and man. We want God to do things that He gave us the ability to do, and then when things don't get done, we blame Him.
Well, somehow we're going to have to do a series on God in you.
Amen.
I think he says, I'm in you and
That's
I'm
it.
empowering you to do everything. I'm going to send you the message. I'm giving you everything. I want you to do my
Okay.
will. You
Love.
see? And so we're going to have to talk about that. I
Yes,
know our
ma'am.
time, they're letting us know our time is
Okay.
up.
What
But
two
I know
things?
yeah, I
Let
was
me
going to
give.
say, give them 2 or 3 steps
Yes.
to really work this week to
Let,
get rid of, to look at forgiveness and anger.
okay. So the two things I'm gonna leave you with is just two scriptures. Okay.
Okay.
And the first one is Matthew chapter 6. Um, it is verse 14 and 15. Matthew 6:14 and 15. It says, For if ye forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. Verse 15. But
Mhm.
if you forgive not men their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses.
Oh, wow.
I know it's pretty heavy. And the
Heavy.
last one, wait, and the last one I'm gonna leave you with is Matthew chapter 5, verse 43. You have heard it has been said, You shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. Verse 44. But I say to you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which spitefully use you and persecute you, that you may be the children of your Father which is in heaven, for he makes his sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sends rain on the just and the unjust.
Right. Okay, you know what they used to say, so be it. So that so we do have something, some food for moving, and we're going to add into this, stay in the moment, always deep breathe. As he said, stop, give yourself some time,
Yes.
ask for permission to step away from the situation,
Mm-hmm.
to turn your head from the situation. When you ask permission, you're linking into the situation, and therefore your stepping away is not added as a indication of your being angry. It
Mm-hmm.
is your indication of wanting to cooperate.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to ask, can I turn? Can I stand? Can I step away for a
That's
minute?
right.
When you're participating with a person, please do not follow them. Allow them to create their distance. I have some wives who follow the husband. When the husband is saying, give me a few minutes and let me step away, they're walking
Mm-hmm.
behind them still talking.
Mm-hmm.
So you're still fueling the sparks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then, and in other words, if you give time, sometime it can cool down so people can hear and be in the reality of the
Mm-hmm.
moment. So
Correct.
always stay and not bring the last things from the past back to the present when you're only trying to heal the moment.
Correct.
Okay, and
That's
so
right.
that's some of the things. And remember the scriptures, and remember the beginning of forgiveness. And we're going to keep this topic for next month. And we're going to really begin to look at parables in the Bible and situations in our lives, and really look at how we can look at historic anger and forgiveness. How can we look at it in the moment, and how we can begin to heal ourselves
Mm-hmm.
in our families and in our communities, heal
Mm-hmm.
ourselves in
That's right.
those situations.
And the last thing to go with that, Dr. Lewis, I want the people to know what we're telling you is a new way of operating, which is
Yes.
a new practice to
Mm-hmm.
bring a new result. So, what am I
Mm-hmm.
saying? As things continue to happen, your body, your mind, your soul is
Yes.
going to want to lean back to what it currently knows. So,
Right.
you're going to have to fight yourself from not looking at things the way you normally look at things. It's going to be a fight in the beginning, but you have to practice. Follow me.
Just
Practice
practice.
everything that Dr. Lewis and I is
Mm-hmm.
saying. It has to be a practice. So don't do it once or twice and then the third time stop and say it don't work. No, 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 no. You got
Mm-hmm.
to practice it, and it's going to be hard. You might not do it all the time. It's okay. Do
Yeah.
it. Keep doing it. Keep practicing it. And over time, it's going to become now a new behavior.
Yes. Yes. Very good. Very good. Thank you so much. This is such an appropriate topic for the times and for us. I'm just going to ask everybody to, I'm going to thank you for being here. I want to especially thank Reverend Dr. Corey Wilson for being with us this morning today. I
Yes,
want
ma'am.
you to take your phones out and go to Cultivision TV and download the app so you can get all of the information at 7 o'clock every Tuesday evening. Okay, and so we're going to look forward to that. Renew beliefs, rebuild faith, and reconnect families and friends. For it is not the circumstances we meet, it is the manner in which we respond that determines health, happiness, and success. Go to our website, wrc-houston.com. Sign up for our next mental health coaching class. It's going to, the orientation is the last Tuesday, which is I think the 27th, September the 27th, is an orientation for you to sign up. All you have to do is go to the website. We have scholarships for you available. You only have to pay the 150 registration fee. and the whole class is for you and your church members. So please go and sign up. We look forward to seeing you there. Thank you. Same place, same time, same station next week, God willing.